Mr. Klaus.
You have a gift. You were meant for making toys. So I figured, if you donate your old toys, I'll deliver them for free.
Tonight, I go with you.
There's no need for you to come with me, really. Tonight, then.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the 2019 Netflix original animated film, Klaus. Now, apparently this movie was last year's most anticipated release for Netflix, and I must have been living under a rock or something because I'd never even heard of this movie till like 2 days ago when I just happened to be browsing through Netflix looking for a Christmas movie to watch. So most of you who watch this video have probably already seen this film, but I have not, so I'm going to review it. Klaus tells the story of Jesper, this snotty, bratty, privileged kid who goes to this postal academy, and he's going there and he's supposed to be training to become a postman. Well, he wants nothing to do with that. He wants to just keep living a privileged life and have everything handed to him. So his father, who is the postmaster, decides to discipline him for his laziness and sends him to this remote island way far north somewhere and tells him that he has to deliver, has to stamp and send out 6,000 letters, basically start up a post office at this rundown town, otherwise he's going to cut him off from the family, and he's not going to get any more money, or not going to be able to live, you know, with any of the wealth anymore. So he has to go to this island to try to reach this quota so that he doesn't get cut off from the family. Now, as Jesper starts to get into this town, and he realizes how it's just dark and grimy and run down. And it turns out that there's these two main families in town, and they've been feuding for decades, very much like the Hatfields and McCoys. So that's, the whole town is just kind of revolved around this hatred that these two families have for one another. So Jesper gets into this town and gets all set up, and he's there for quite some time, really with no luck. He's doing everything in his power to try to get people to start sending letters and this, and he's just not having any luck, and he's really basically reaching a point where he's giving up. Until he realizes one day, well, wait a minute, there's this cabin outside of town. Well, how come I've never been there before? So he goes out to this cabin, and that's where we meet the character Klaus. This big guy, he's got a long white beard, and he's an old toy maker. Well, Jesper sees all these toys there and convinces Klaus to, you know, come into town and give some of the toys away to some of the kids. So now by pure accident, he realizes that these kids want to start writing this Klaus character letters asking for toys. So he realizes, hey, with doing this, I can probably reach my quota and get out of here. And I gotta tell you, this Klaus character, he sounds really familiar. He kind of sounds like someone else I know that's big, has a white beard, that children send letters to, and he brings them toys. Huh. But I believe his name was Klaus. Wait a minute. Klaus? Klaus. Klaus? Klaus. Huh.
Is there a little similarity there? Whoa, I think there is. You understand what I'm talking about?
Well, in case you don't, I'm gonna tell you. That's right. Klaus is Santa Claus. This is a Santa Claus Origins film, and I gotta tell you, it's a good one. This movie is absolutely fantastic. I don't even know where to start with it. This movie, on every single level, just thrives. It is a brilliantly done movie. I kind of am glad that I haven't seen it till now, because I get to just now experience it for the first time. This movie is so good. Let's talk about it. let's first talk about the cast, the voice actors. You got Jason Schwartzman, Joan Cusack, J.K. Simmons, Rashida Jones, Norm Macdonald. The cast for this is just done absolutely perfect. Everybody is great in their own way and all brings their own perfect element into this movie. For one of the other first things I want to talk about is this movie, the director, I forget what his name is. Hold on a second, I actually have it right here. It is Sergio Pablos, I think is how you say it. I apologize if I said that wrong. He must have been a fan of The Emperor's New Groove, because the character of Jesper is very much like the Emperor in Emperor's New Groove. They're pretty much the exact same character. And I forget what the woman's name is. It's not on there. But the Joan Cusack, the woman that Joan Cusack voices, she's like the grandmother of one of the feuding families. And she's very much like the character from The Emperor's New Groove who's trying to stop the Emperor the whole time. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, I can't remember what her name is either. But if you like The Emperor's New Groove, you're probably going to like this movie. The dialogue is very quick-witted. The movie is hysterical. There's constant funny moments.
No! Ha! Eat our snow, you... They're not attached. Why aren't they attached? I thought they were attached. I would never, in a million years, have done what I just did if I didn't think these were attached.
But it also has a lot of heart. This movie is just beautifully done. Next, let's talk about the animation. The animation is beautiful in this. It's old school 2D animation. Back to hand drawing. There's a little bit of CGI stuff in there, I believe, but a lot of it was hand drawn. It reminds me a lot of the old Disney movies I grew up with. And the director, Sergio Pablos, was actually an animator for Disney for a lot of years and probably worked on a lot of those Disney films that I grew up watching. He also, I believe, was the creator of Despicable Me, and there was one other movie as well, another big one, and I can't remember the name of it. Obviously, I didn't do my homework, but he is the creator of Despicable Me. And this animation is just gorgeous. It has... He's from Spain. It has, and you can tell the animation has a little bit of a Spanish twist on it, but the colors are just great. And one of the things that's really, really cool about this movie is when Jesper first arrives at this island, it's very dark and grim, a lot of blacks and grays. But as the time starts to go on, and like it becomes more of a Christmas story, and like the origins of Santa Claus start to come in, and the town starts getting filled with more cheer and not so much dread, the colors drastically change, and you can just, it goes from very dark and gloomy to brighter colors. And there's a scene in there when Jesper doesn't realize what his presence there has actually done for the town. So the local teacher brings him down and shows him the town where all the townspeople are gathered and they're all happy and they're doing Christmas celebrations. They're building snowmans, there's Christmas lights up, there's trees up. And that scene, it's one of my favorite scenes in there, is where they walk out and they see everything for the first time, and everything just beautiful. And this film did a fantastic job of making things brighter as the time progressed, and the movie went from not so dark and like grimy and just not evil but just unhappy to happy. They did a great job of transferring color as the movie progressed, and that was one of my favorite aspects of this film. Another thing that's really great about this movie is, yes, it's an origin film, a Santa Claus origin film, but it's subtle about its approach, and it takes its time. The first half of the movie, I'd say probably at least half of the movie, it's not like you're watching a Christmas movie at all. I mean, it starts to progress slowly and slowly and slowly. But yeah, the first half of the movie, you don't even realize you're watching a Christmas movie, because it really takes its time, and it is rather subtle in its development. And I appreciate that they did that. They didn't just flat out make the whole thing cheerful and happy right from the get-go. There's actually, I'll leave a link down below in the description to this video that's on YouTube, but there's like a little 5-minute interview on YouTube with the director, and he's talking about why he chose to do this movie. And he said he wanted to do an origin story, and he was kind of flipping through different things, like, okay, what can I do, what can I do? And he got to Santa Claus, and he was like, nah, and just kept flipping. But he kept going back to the Santa Claus, and he said that if he could do it in a way that wasn't so hokey, and if there was a way that he could hold off on bringing the magic into the film and presenting this in a very subtle manner, that'd be something he would be very interested in doing. And so that's very much how this film goes. But once it does get to the end and everything, it's just pulled together beautifully. So, but that's just something to be aware of. If you're going in and thinking you're going to get like pretty much kind of like, you know, Christmas lights, Christmas right away, you're not going to get that. You have to put in your time a little bit with this one. But once it gets there, it really delivers. But as far as all the like the traditions and everything that we have come accustomed to now is all in there. They have, it's a very clever movie too. They talk about how, you know, how Santa's helpers come about, and, you know, coming down the chimney, leaving cookies and milk, and basically everything that we know is presented in this film. They really don't leave anything out. They do a very good job of tying all of these traditions into this movie. It's a very, very clever film in the way that they do that. So now, you basically have been listening to me praise this movie throughout this entire video, but I will say there are a couple aspects of the movie that I didn't care for. For one, well, of course, Jesper, while he's at this town, he begins to have his character arc, and he starts to realize that he needs to change his ways, and that he's actually happy there, this and that. And the whole time, his original plan of just reaching his quota and ditching out of town, the people who have become close to him while he was here didn't know that. You know, obviously they didn't know that that was his plan all along, even though that at this point he had changed his mind. And then just the way that they pulled that off, where they found out, the father just kind of shows up and was like, oh, you know, I heard you're doing good here, you can come home now, this and that. I don't know, I thought they could have did that a little bit better, but it was still okay. And then they do use a couple of songs that are more modern songs. Like, there's a rap song, and then they use the heavies, How Do You Like Me Now? I don't know, it doesn't ruin the movie, but it didn't really fit. It just seemed kind of out of place. But other than that, the movie's fantastic. Out of a possible 5 Christmas trees, I give this 5. It's streaming on Netflix right now, guys, so go check it out. It's absolutely fantastic. I think you'll absolutely love it. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Lets me know you guys like what I'm doing. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Take care. Happy holidays. Bye.